Namaste. Namaste. This class is going to be a 1-hour class on hip openers. So we all get a little tight in the hips sometimes, you know, when you're sitting a lot, maybe after traveling, maybe it's just, you know, something kind of chronic. So these poses can be approached in a gentle way if you're particularly tight, and then gradually working your way up to, you know, going deeper into them. So as we do them, I'll give some different variations and options for people who are at different levels of flexibility. So let's start with some deep breathing. So just closing your eyes, sit up, lift your sternum, take your shoulders back, and bring your shoulders right over your hips. So almost as if you're leaning into the back of a chair. And feel your lower back muscles holding you up, lifting you from below. And the spine and the crown of the head extending upward. Take the outer corners of the shoulders back. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale from your mouth. And let's repeat that twice more. So a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale from your mouth. One more time. Breathe in. Exhale from your mouth. And turn your head. Look over your left shoulder. And turn, look to your right. And again, left. And to the right. And left. And to the right. And back to center. And we'll make a circle with the head all the way around. Go slowly. And the other way. Circle. And back to center. Bring your arms overhead, interlace your fingers, turn your palms upward and stretch the sides of your body. Just hold there. Take a couple of deep breaths. We're going to take the right hand down, reach the left arm up, and then over to the side. And we'll go to the left hand down, right arm up, and then over to the side, and go back and forth, stretching the sides of the body. And come back to center. And again, reach up, interlace your fingers, palms to the ceiling, stretch. And let's take a twist to the right. Take your left hand to your right leg, right hand behind you. And a twist to your left. Look over your left shoulder. And back to center. Bring your knees up, your feet flat, knees and feet together. Just wrap your arms around your shins. Take your head towards your knees and round your back. Lift the head, bring your chest forward, shoulders and head back. And again, round your back. Hold the spine backward, head toward your knees. And arch. And round your back. And arch the back. And sit all the way up. All right, we're going to move on to hands and knees for the next part. And if you are on a hard surface or if you have sensitive knees, you can put a blanket underneath your knees. Come to hands and knees with the wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. And round your back. Lift your spine, head down. And then arch the back. And again, round. And arch your back. And round. And arch your back. And come to a flat back. Move your hands forward, one hand's length. And circle your shoulders and hips together. Make a big wide circle. And go the other way, circle. Come back to center, take your wrists under your shoulders again, turn your toes under, lift your hips up and back, coming into downward dog. Press the heels towards the floor, press into the front of your hands. Hold there. Take a few deep breaths. Your heels don't have to come all the way to the floor. And you can lift and lower your heels a few times. Stretch them out. And drop your knees. Come back into child's pose. Take your hips to your heels. Take your forehead down. And just relax there for a moment. Come back up, hands and knees. Through to downward dog and walk your feet forward. We're just going to come into a forward bend here, letting your upper body relax, head hanging down towards the floor. Keep your legs straight and think about softening in the center of your muscles. We'll just hold that for a few breaths. And come halfway up, hands on your thighs. And all the way up, reach up, bend back. And exhale, take your arms down. All right, you're gonna move your blocks. So you're gonna ideally have 2 blocks and put them at the end of the mat with the blocks turned up to the highest level. It's good to have a blanket or towel to put under your knees here. We're gonna be putting weight on one knee. So just take up, standing behind your blocks, inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, forward, take your hands to your blocks. Take a step back with your right foot. Drop your right knee to the blanket. And look at your left ankle. You want to bring it just a little in front of the knee. And then shift your hips forward and back a few times. And shift forward and hold there. Lift your head. Pressing that right thigh forward. Should feel a stretch along the front of the right thigh, maybe in the groin area. And now we're going to come back. So you're taking your right hip over your right knee. Left knee's at a 90-degree angle. Bring your hands together at your heart and you're going to have the top of your right foot on the floor. So pressing the right leg and foot and the left foot into the floor and isometrically pull your inner thighs toward each other to help you stay stable. Bring your arms overhead, palms facing each other, reach up, pull the shoulders down and back. Bend back, pull in below your belly button. Engage your core. Hold there. And come all the way up. Take your hands to your blocks again. Press the hips forward towards that left heel. And we're going to take the blocks back so they're on either side of the right knee. Extend your left leg, flex your left foot. Inhale, come up straight. Exhale, bend, folding down over that left leg. And you can bring the blocks forward if it's hard for you to bend without rounding your back, just to keep you up a little bit. So we want to keep the spine extended here. If you think about the space between your rib cage and your pelvis, you want to keep that space as long as possible. So when you breathe in, you lengthen. When you breathe out, you fold without rounding the back. Keep your shoulders back. Keep your chin off your chest. And you can reach for your toes if you can easily reach them, or pull on the back of the leg. And hold it there. And lift up. Put the left foot on the mat again. Take your blocks to either side of your left foot. Lift your right knee. Press your right heel back and your left knee forward at the same time. Lift with the back of the right thigh. And hold. Press into your ball of the right foot and shift your hips forward and back. And circle your hips. And circle the other way. Back to center. And again, push the left knee forward, right heel back. Lift with the back of the right thigh. Step your right foot forward and come into a forward fold. Just let your upper body relax. Stand all the way up, reach up, inhale, bend back just a little. Take your arms down by your sides and just stand for a moment and observe yourself. See how you feel. So the right side is all woken up and stretched. It's gonna feel a little different than the left. And now we'll do the left. So bend forward, take your hands to the blocks. Step your left foot back, drop your left knee. And now we want to take that right foot forward so the foot is slightly in front of the knee. And then we're going to shift the hips forward and take them back and forward and back just a few more times. And then shift your hips forward and hold there. Feeling that stretch along the front of the left thigh. And then we'll come up. So taking the left hip over the left knee. Right knee is at about a 90-degree angle. Bring the hands together up overhead. Top of the left foot on the floor, and you're pulling your inner thighs toward each other for balance. Taking your shoulders down and back. Use your abdominal muscles. Pull in on your belly. Hold there. Come up, take your hands to your blocks. I'm going to move the blocks back next to the left knee. Extend your right leg, flex your right foot. Lengthen your spine, lift your head. So we're going to keep the spine extended. Again, keeping that space between the rib cage and the pelvis. Inhale, lengthen the leg, lengthen your spine. And fold forward on your exhale. So with every breath, you're folding, you're bringing your belly toward your thigh. You can take your right hand and pull on the back of the leg or pull on your toes. But again, keep the spine extended. Don't round your back. And we'll do that for a few more breaths. And come back up. And we'll take the blocks forward. One block on each side of your right foot down, lift the left knee and press the left heel back, right knee forward, hold there, lifting with the back of the left thigh. Press into the left foot and shift your hips forward and back. And come back to center. And again, take that left heel back and the right knee forward. Hold. And step your left foot forward. Come into a forward bend. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, take your arms down. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead, bend back. Exhale, forward, take your hands to your blocks. Step your right foot back, drop your right knee, lift your head, inhale. We're gonna take the blocks out from underneath the hands, just bring them forward. And your hands flat on the mat. Lift your right knee, step your left foot back. So that little movement can be a little challenging. Do the best you can. Hold in the plank pose. Drop your knees. Take your hips back towards your heels. Round your lower back, pulling your belly up and in. Bring your chest and chin toward the mat and scoop forward into a baby cobra. Shoulders back, head up. Press into your palms, straighten your arms, turn your toes under, take your hips up and back, lift the right leg, step forward, drop your left knee, lift your head. Step the left foot forward, fold, exhale. Inhale, stand up, bend back. Exhale, your arms down. Inhale, exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, forward, hands to your blocks or to your mat, whichever feels good to you. Step the left foot back, drop your left knee, lift your head. Hold. So if you've got your hands on the blocks, just bring them to the mat. Lift the left knee, step your right foot back. Hold that plank. Drop your knees. Take your hips back towards your heels, pull your belly in. Chest and chin toward the mat, come into baby cobra. Shoulders back. Press into your palms, straighten your arms. Turn your toes under. Take your hips up and back. Lift the left foot. Step forward, drop your right knee, lift your head. And the right foot forward. Exhale. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, arms down. Take a couple breaths and bring your hands together at your heart again. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, forward, take your hands to your blocks or to the mat. Step your right foot back, drop your knee. Inhale, head up. Lift the knee, take the left foot back, hold plank. Lower your knees, shift your hips back, scoop down, chest and chin, baby cobra. Straighten your arms, turn your toes under, take your hips up, lift your right leg, step forward, drop your left knee. Left foot forward, exhale. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, exhale, bring your hands together. Inhale, reach up, bend back. Exhale, forward, hands to your mat. Step your left foot back, lift your head, inhale. Right foot back, hold the plank. Lower your knees, hips back towards your heels. Chest and chin down, scoop forward, cobra. Press into your palms, straighten your arms. Turn your toes under, take your hips up. Lift the left leg, step forward, drop the right knee. And right foot forward, fold. Inhale, stand up, bend back. Exhale, arms down. We're gonna go down to the mat now. So lying on your back. And for the moment, you won't need any props. Just put them off to the side. And just lie down on your back with your knees bent. Pick your feet up off the floor, hug your thighs in against your abdomen. And just hold there. Take a couple of deep breaths. And you want to breathe so that your belly presses against your thighs. Rock your hips side to side. Come back to center. Bring both hands around your right shin, interlace your fingers, take your left leg out, flat on the mat, flex your left foot and pull the right thigh in. Hold that position. And now pull your right knee to the right of your body, so it's coming over the floor. It's like a half squat. Lying on your back, we're going to rotate the right ankle here. Do 3 circles. Go the other way. Do 3 circles. And let it relax. And we'll switch. So bring your left leg in. Hands around the left shin. Right leg out straight. Flex your right foot. Press the back of the right leg down as you hug your left leg in. Hold it in tight. Breathe deep. Take your left knee to the left of the body, so you're pulling it over the floor, and pull it down at the same time. Keep the right leg pressing down. Keep the right foot flexed. And we'll rotate the left ankle. Do 3 circles. And go the other way. 3 circles. And let it relax. And release it. Take both legs out straight. Bring your arms overhead behind you and stretch from your fingertips to your heels. Stretch your whole body. Take a couple of breaths. And take your hands down by your sides. Bend your left knee. Bend your right knee. Put your right ankle across the left thigh, just above the knee, or in this position, it ends up being literally below the knee. We're going to take the right hand, press on the right thigh, and hold there. Keep your right foot flexed. And you can take your hand off your thigh, pick your left foot up, and put your hands around the back of the left leg. So holding here, this is the reclining pigeon. And in a minute, we're going to do the full pigeon. But for people who, if your hips are a little too tight for the full pigeon, this would be the alternative to that, this reclining pigeon. So you can come back to it. So you're just going to hold here and pull in on that left thigh. And also, if you can't quite get your hands all the way around your left thigh, you could use a strap here and use that strap around the back of the thigh to pull in. And on the other hand, if you're not getting much of a stretch there, you could put your hands around your shin and pull in. So it just depends on what your flexibility level is. We want to feel some stretching, but no pain, no strain. As you're holding this stretch, notice where the body is resisting, where there's tightness. Breathe. When you breathe in, imagine your breath going to that area. And when you breathe out, imagine the tension releasing and see if literally you can pull in a little bit more. It can be a very tiny amount, not even visible. Rock your hips side to side. And come back to center and just pull in again. And we'll release it. So release the left leg. Uncross your legs. Now we're going to cross the other way. So left over the right. Flex your left foot. Put your left hand on your left thigh and press it down. Think about relaxing your back, your hips, wherever you might feel some tension. Okay, we're going to take the left hand off the thigh. Keep your left foot flexed. Pick your right foot up and put your hands around the back of your right leg. So again, you could use the strap or put your hands around your shin instead. Keeping that left foot flexed and keep pulling in. When you notice tension, breathe into it. Try to let your muscles soften. So we're going to hold here. Keep breathing deep. Using your exhale to release. Rock your hips gently side to side. Come back to center and again, pull in and release it. Bring your feet to the mat. Take your feet out to the edges of the mat. And let your knees fall together in the center. And just relax in that position for a few breaths. You can put your hands up, palms up toward the ceiling, hands by your sides. Now bring your feet together. Straighten your left leg and let your right knee drop to the right. Bring the sole of the right foot against the left thigh. We don't want to roll to the right, so we want to keep the hips even and firm. If you feel a lot of pull to the right, you could take a blanket or bolster and just slide it underneath the right side, underneath the right leg, so that it's just a gentle release and not a lot of pulling, not a lot of turning there. And just hold that position. Think about from your groin to your knee, that area lengthening. And visualize the muscles just softening, relaxing. We'll bring the right knee up and we're going to take the right knee over to the left. Try to keep your right shoulder as close to the mat as you can. You're going to take your right arm out at shoulder level. Take your left hand, put it on your right thigh and pull if that feels good. And again, where you're feeling tension, let it go. Breathe deep. And we'll roll back up and we'll do the other side. So you're going to bend the left knee, straighten your right leg, take your left knee over to the left with the sole of the foot against the right thigh. And again, if there's a lot of pull here to the left, just put something soft, blanket or a cushion under the left leg to cushion that and let it relax gently rather than pulling a lot. And continue taking deep breaths. Visualize the leg lengthening from the groin out to the knee. And we'll bring the left knee up. And now we're going to take the left knee over to the right. So rolling over, you rest the left foot on the side of the right leg. We're going to keep that left arm out at shoulder level. Keep the left shoulder close to the mat. You can take your right hand, place it on the left thigh and pull towards the floor. Try to relax your waist or wherever you're feeling tension. Breathe deep. And roll back up. Bend both knees, place your feet on the mat, just relax for a moment. All right, so now we're gonna grab a block, just one, and come back to lying down with your knees bent, feet on the floor. Lift your hips up and slide the block underneath your sacrum, so that bony area between the hips, lower back. I'm gonna place the block there. You want it to feel that it's supporting you, but without, pushing in anywhere uncomfortably. And just take a moment to kind of rest on the block, make sure that it feels pretty comfortable, that it feels pretty supportive. And then we're going to straighten the left leg. And with the heel of the foot on the mat, let your little toes fall to the side. So the arch of the left foot is turned up toward the ceiling. And just relax in that position. And then we'll bend the left knee, left foot on the floor, and straighten the right leg, and let your little toes fall to the side. And just relax in that position. And breathe deep. And bend the right knee, foot on the floor. And then we're just going to take both legs up towards the ceiling. And if there's a lot of tension on the backs of your legs, it's okay to bend your knees a little. Otherwise, try to straighten them. And take your feet about a little wider than hip width apart. And we're going to circle the legs in opposite directions. So one goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise. And they're very gentle, small, slow circles. And if it's difficult for you, you can slow it down and even make them even smaller. And then circle the other way. And bring your feet together and lower them to the mat. And lift your hips. Slide the block out. Lower back down gently. And just rest for a moment with your back on the mat and your knees bent. And we're going to roll over to one side, whichever side feels good to you. You can bring an arm up under your head. Rest for a moment. And then push yourself up to a seated position. And we're going to come over onto hands and knees and set up some props. So you're going to put some blocks to either side of the mat with the blocks at their lowest height and a folded blanket, or you could use a yoga bolster or a couple cushions. And we're going to put this blanket on the left side, right about the middle of the mat. And come to a kneeling position. And so the blanket should be at about the level of your knees. Spread your fingers out wide, take your hips up and back, raise the left leg and bring it forward, resting your knee behind your left wrist and your ankle behind your right wrist. And we're going to take the right leg back and put that blanket or prop, whatever you have there, under the left side. Now, a couple of adjustments. So if you are particularly tight in your hips, you might need a little more height under this left side. So give yourself that if you need it. Or if it's just really painful or difficult, you can roll onto your back and do the reclining pigeon that I showed just a little while ago. Okay, another adjustment, we're going to put our hands on the blocks to raise up a little. And your left knee, you want to have the left knee lined up with the left hip. When your knee is bent a lot, it doesn't stretch as much into the hip, so you can bend it more to be more gentle, or you can bring that left shin forward a little if you want a little more stretch. And we should have both hips about an equal distance from the mat, from the floor. And then put your hands on your blocks. So you're rolling your right hip down, usually would be rolling it down a little. And just hold there. And try to relax and soften anywhere that there's tension. lifting your chest, shoulders back, head up. So if you're doing the reclining pigeon, you're just gonna stay there and hold. You're gonna have your left ankle over the right knee and pulling in your right leg. Okay, we're gonna go all the way down to sleeping pigeon. So we're gonna take the forearms down to the mat and then rest your head either on your hands on the mat, or you could put a block or some other props under the head. And again, if you are doing the reclining pigeon on your back, you're just gonna stay there. You could also rock your hips side to side a little just to stretch a little more. And again, we're trying to soften gently. So we never wanna force a stretch. Take your body to the edge of where it can go comfortably, and then relax there and see if that edge can move a little bit more. You just keep doing that, moving that edge forward. A couple more breaths. And we'll come back up. And we're gonna get ready for the other side. So turn under the toes of your right foot, raise your right knee, come up on your hands so you can take your left foot back. And we're just gonna go to hands and knees to move the props to the right side. And back to hands and knees, and then downward dog. Take your hips up, take your right leg up, bring your right leg forward with the knee behind the right wrist, the ankle behind the left wrist. And you're gonna slide your left leg back. So again, you wanna put some cushioning under the right side and taking your hands to your block. So check this out. See if you wanna bend your knee a little more. That makes it a little more gentle. Or to make it a little more intense, moving that right shin forward. And you're gonna center your left foot so that it's in line with your left hip. So hands on the blocks, and we're gonna turn both hips equal distance from the floor. And hold there and just breathe deep. Try to let go of the tension. If you are very flexible, you can do this pose in a split, but that takes a lot of flexibility. All right, so we're gonna hold. Just take deep breaths, keep lifting your sternum, head up, letting the hips go toward the floor. And we're gonna come down to the sleeping pigeon. So bring your forearms and hands to the mat, and then lower your head to your hands or to your mat. And again, if you are on your back, you're just gonna continue there, pulling in this time on the opposite leg and maybe rocking your hips side to side. So we're gonna relax in that pigeon pose. Take deep breaths. Just a few more breaths. And then we'll come back. Raising the head up, walking your hands back, wrists under the shoulders. You're gonna turn the left toes under, lift the left knee, and take your right leg back. Come into downward dog and just pedal your feet up and down. And then bring the legs forward. We're going to come into a seated position on a folded blanket. And bring your feet in front of you with the soles of your feet together and your knees off to the sides. And if you've got blocks, you can put one block under each knee and just sit up straight. And think again about lengthening from the groin out to the knee. Hold that position. Take some deep breaths. And now bend forward without rounding your back. So inhale, lengthen your spine, lift your head. On your exhale, bend from your hips. And just take a few breaths. You can pull on your ankles or pull on your shins. Now, if you're using blocks, take them out and put a little pressure on the inside of the knees. You don't want to feel any pain or strain, but just a little pressure. Take a few more breaths. And round forward. Bring your head towards your knees, or towards your feet, sorry. And we're going to let the back round now. And we'll sit up all the way up. And we're going to extend the legs out in front. And just hold there. Bend your right knee. Step your right foot over your left leg. And with your left arm, hug your right leg. Sit up tall and turn, look over your right shoulder. Hold there. And turn back to the front. We're going to uncross the legs and cross the opposite way. Bend your left knee, step over your right leg. With your right arm, hug the left leg, take your left hand behind you and turn, look over your left shoulder. And we'll untwist. Okay, we're going to do 2 more seated poses. I'm going to turn to face you guys so that you can see it a little bit better. For this one, you may want a little more height, so you can try it and see. We're going to bring the left shin forward, so it's lined up with the edge of your mat. And then you're going to take your right ankle, and you want to have your right ankle directly over your left knee and your right knee directly over your left ankle. You're going to flex the feet. So it's like the 2 shins are parallel to each other, right on top of each other. And you may not have a big space here like I do. This is just the way my hips are. You might have more flexibility in your hips in that way. So, you know, if your legs are together, that's good. But again, you do want to have the shins parallel to the end of the mat. So you don't want that bottom leg bent in or anything like that. Ankle over knee, knee over ankle. Just sit up and hold there. And then you can come forward, walking your hands forward. And just come down, keep the spine lengthened. And we'll come back up and we're going to switch to the other side. So we're just going to take the right leg on the bottom, shin parallel to the end of the mat, left leg on top. So left ankle over the right knee, left knee over the right ankle. Flex the feet so the shins are parallel to each other. Sit up, hold there, and bend forward, and hold. And just a few more breaths. Come up, uncross the legs, bring the knees together, feet on the floor. Just take a couple breaths, sit up straight. Got one more pose. So for this next one, we're gonna have the right leg on the bottom to start, and you're gonna line up your right knee with your belly button. So the knee is bent and the right foot is over to the left of the left hip. You wanna make sure you're not sitting on your foot. And then we're gonna take the left knee and put it over the right knee, and the left foot is over to the side. So variations for this, if you can't get the knees quite, lined up, it's okay for them to be apart a little. If it's really difficult to sit this way, you could also just do this cross-legged, or even we're going to do an arm position. So you could just sit cross-legged, or you could sit with the feet together and the knees apart for that arm position to still be stretching your hips. Okay, we're going to put the hands on the knees, and you're going to press your knees very gently towards the floor as you're sitting up straight. And just hold there. Okay, so now we'll do the arm position. So we're going to take the right arm up, bring it down, the hand down between your shoulder blades. Take your left hand and take your left hand to your right elbow, and then pull the arms back so they're right over the crown of your head, the highest point of the head. So if you are a little more flexible in your shoulders, you also might be able to do it a different way, where you would take your left hand back behind you, reaching up between your shoulder blades and bring your two hands together. But if you try this and your fingers don't interlace, so your hands would be just like that with a hook. If they don't hook, then you can just keep your hand on your elbow and so like that. All right, so either one of those, either the hands hooking behind you or arms over the head, and you're trying to sit up straight, chin parallel to the floor, looking forward. Notice where there's tension and let it soften, let it release. We'll just take a few more breaths in this position. And then release it. And uncross your legs, and you're going to cross the other way. So now the left leg is on the bottom, and we'll cross the right leg over the top. So either stacking the knees up, or you can take them slightly apart, or again, sit cross-legged or in the diamond pose with the feet together. And we'll just take a moment, hands on the knees, sit up straight, couple of breaths. All right, so now we'll do the arms. So you're going to take the left arm up, reach up, bring it down between your shoulder blades, take your right hand behind and hook the fingers together, or take the right hand to the left elbow and pull the arms back over the crown of the head. So either one of those hand positions, and you want to have your chin parallel to the floor and hold there. When you breathe in, think about lengthening your spine, lifting your head, even leaning back just a little. And when you breathe out, think about the knees going closer to the floor and relaxing wherever you're feeling that tightness. So we'll hold a couple more breaths. Release your arms. Uncross your legs, bring your legs out in front and just roll them side to side a little bit. We're going to do one more pose, and that's the frog pose. So come to your hands and knees. Frog pose. We're going to take the knees mat width apart and line up your ankles right behind your knees. So if you know that you have difficulty bringing your hips back in child's pose, You could take a blanket or some cushions and just put them on your shins or on your calves, sorry. You might need 2 blankets just because we have the calves so far apart, but just give yourself a little cushioning there if you have difficulty bringing the thighs and hips back in child's pose. And then we're going to come back as we do for child's pose. Lower the forearms, lower the head, and just rest there. Again, relaxing, softening the muscles that are tense. And go ahead and come up. And now we're going to lie down in the corpse pose. So when you lie down in corpse pose, you can put a blanket under your head if you need to, or a rolled blanket under the knees. It's important that your body stays warm as we're going to relax deeply. So if you need a sweater or something, you can put that on, or even cover yourself with a blanket. And then we're going to come into the corpse pose. So lying flat on your back, and you're going to have your feet slightly wider than the mat with your little toes falling to the sides and your hands by your sides, about 6 inches or so away from the body with your palms turned upward. So when we do yoga, we're working with not just the physical body, the muscles and the bones and the joints, but we're also working with our energetic body. And there's energy pathways, and they call them in yoga the nadis. And they roughly correlate to the structure of the nervous system. And so just like you've got the nerves passing signals throughout your body, there's also this energetic system, and we're opening those energy pathways when we do yoga poses. Maybe not completely. It might take you, several times or even hundreds of times doing a pose to really fully open an energy pathway, but we're beginning that process. And so they are more open after doing yoga than they were when you started. And then when we're in this position, this corpse pose, this is the optimal position for that energy to move through the body. That's why we have the feet separated and the hands away from the body, so that energy field that's around your body has space. And you can visualize that movement also. So when you breathe in, you can just visualize like a light or color coming in with your breath, coming into your lungs. And then when you breathe out, visualize that light or color moving from your lungs out through your whole body in a branching pattern, just like the nervous system or the circulatory system. So it's going out to your arms, tips of your fingers, down through your legs, the tips of your toes, up to the crown of the head. And again, when you breathe in, visualize that same color or light, whatever appeals to you, coming in. And when you breathe out, visualize it branching out through your whole body. So keep that image in mind. And I'll just be silent for a few minutes and let you relax. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale from your mouth. And again, breathe in through the nose. Exhale from your mouth. One more time. Breathe in. Exhale. And gently start moving your toes, moving your fingers. Rotate your ankles and wrists. And roll over and rest on your side. Just stay there for a few breaths. And come up to a seated position. And just sit up on a blanket or a yoga bolster. You want to have your hips a little higher than your knees, and maybe the sitting now feels a little more comfortable than it did at the beginning. Rest your hands on your legs, close your eyes, and just focus on your breath. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Observe yourself. Notice, how does your body feel now after that practice? What's happening in your mind? Are your thoughts moving a little slower? You're feeling a sense of calm or relaxation anywhere? Notice the quality of your breath. How is your breath moving? And now start to count your breaths. You're going to count 10 inhales and 10 exhales, and you just count silently in your mind. You might breathe a little faster or slower than I do. You probably will. We all have a little bit different pace of breathing, but just count your 10 breaths and then leave off counting after you get to 10. Rub your hands together. Rest your palms over your eyes. Massage your face. Massage your neck, your shoulders. And let's chant Om 3 times together to breathe in. And just breathe normally for a few breaths. And bring your hands together at your heart. Namaste. Thank you.